Hello, I'm Hannah. Welcome to our 5-part series on year end. This is part 5, looking ahead to the new financial year. It's very easy to become focused and bogged down in the current financial year, especially as we're approaching the AGAR and there's lots of additional work to be done surrounding it. Is your cash book up to date? Have you reconciled the bank? Do you know exactly what you're going to need to complete for the AGAR? However, if you can set aside some time now, it's a good idea to set up the cash book for the new financial year. Often smaller councils are able to complete their AGAR in their current year and then start the new financial year. However, for larger councils or for those with more going on, it's simply not possible, and it's likely that you're going to have to complete the financial year, the current one, whilst alongside working against the new one starting the 1st of April. So you're going to need to have your cash book set up and ready to go. Therefore, it's a good opportunity now to objectively review your accounts records and your cash book and think about how improvements might be able to be made. So it may be useful to ask yourself some of the following questions. Is your accounting system fit for purpose? How secure is it? Is it just on the council laptop or computer? Is it accessible from other devices? How easy is it to share information with other users or members of the council? Do you need training on it? Have you recently joined the council and you were simply handed the laptop with no handover or training? Or is it easy to obtain the training, or was the system set up as a standalone system and now there's nobody at the council who knows how to maintain or train on it? Does it suit the needs of your council? Has it been updated and brought into line with your current functions? Was it great 5 years ago, but actually the needs of the council have changed and it's not now reflecting that? How could improvements be made? What are you finding difficult? Something to consider, particularly as you complete the year-end process and go through the collation of the data. What elements are really hard to do? Is it time-consuming? Is it difficult? Is your VAT information hard to extract, for example? Often, changing the medium or the coding structure can really help. So if you're still using paper records, is it time to move on to a spreadsheet? If you're using spreadsheets, do you need to revisit it? Look for a more sophisticated example, or maybe is it time to move to software? The coding structure is also really key. When thinking about how to structure the cash book, I'd advise you to base it on your council budget or your preset breakdown. I've seen lots of cash books and often they don't bear any resemblance to the actual budget held by the council. So the budget is nicely set out line by line, code by code, with a budget allocated to each line. The cash book doesn't reflect that, has lots of different codes or different allocations, and actually trying to analyse the actuals versus the budget is really very difficult. Therefore, base your structure of your cash book on the council budget and allocate out your transactions, your payments and your receipts out to those budget codes. Also think about grouping codes together if they require reporting on. For example, the village hall. If you want to know the overall position of the village hall in terms of the income you've had from hirings versus the cost of running the hall, such as maintenance, cleaning, electricity, etc., group them together so you've got an overall picture. Also think about other ways it could be improved upon. It might be considering adding more codes to analyse the data further. For example, if you have just the one code for open spaces, it might be really useful to break that down because you'd like to know the individual costs of hedge cutting, grass cutting, trees, the recreation ground, etc. Or on the flip side, is it too detailed? Was it set up with a great long list of codes, some that you never use, some that you use infrequently, and actually it makes more sense to amalgamate some of them to make your cash book a bit more manageable and your reports easier to understand. Also make sure you're recording enough information in the cash book to make it easier to refer to and to save you some time. For example, if you don't record the invoice number or your VAT numbers of your suppliers, is that something that you could do to save you having to look back at the paperwork to find out that information? I hope that's given you some food for thought as to the ways that you might be able to make your cash book work better for you. And then hopefully in a year's time, it will make your year-end process a lot easier. I hope you've enjoyed our 5-part series. Thank you very much for listening.